Right, welcome to let's say the part two of the data cleaning and preparation video. If it's possible you noticed some glitches in the part one, maybe just a little towards the end, and that is the reason I had to stop that and just make a part of the video. So we'll continue from here. Alright. So what do we want to do? We want to please, if you have not checked out that video, do well to do that. Take notes because we're building on what we discussed or was taught or talked about or discussed in the previous one. Okay, so what are the tips for us to easily format data or do our cleaning or find out problem majorly? What are the tips? What are the pro tips for us to find out problem? I mean, starting out you might be confused. You have a million rows of data, you don't know how to handle them. What are the things to do? And remember, the best way to fix a problem is you sort and filter. It helps you easily find and isolate problems. Okay, that easily helps you to what to find, take note of that, and isolate problems fast. Okay, so let's look at it. The first thing we want to do is probably add headers, filter button to the headers. And how do we get the filter button? You can either come here, your home, you go all the way to sort and filter. Okay, so this is the guy there. Then you can click on the filter button and you can see the shortcut Ctrl Shift L. So I'll just go with that. Go back on the first one or any of the headers. Excel is smart enough to pick the rest of the table or the range. So Ctrl Shift and L. You can see it has added the buttons for me. All right, let's look at how filter and sort can help us. The first column, hiding. One quick way before we actually isolate the problem. Let's find them first. So is when you click on your filter drop down button and you scroll all the way to the end. If there's an issue with that column, you'll find them at the end. Excel will separate them by default. So if we had blanks in this column, we would have seen it at the bottom. It will say blanks. But now we don't have any blank. We don't have any issue. For example, let's say we have an alphabet. The alphabet would have been separated and pushed all the way down. Okay, so I'll cancel that. Let's check the home or the name. You see the names. Let's scroll the way down. And you can see we have blanks, and that is correct. You can see Excel tells us we have blanks in this column. So we might need to do something about that eventually. I'll escape. Let's flag that column. You can see the blanks here. So let's flag the column so we remember we want to fix something there. Just give it a yellow background showing that we want to do something. By the way, our header should be bold. All right. Next thing is the region. Let's take a look at the region, find out if there are problems with that. Click on the drop down, and yes, we have blanks there as well. In previous versions of Excel, older versions, we would have had some of these values duplicated due to inconsistent casing, right? Which is one of the things we'll fix. But as the new feature comes in, the new upgrade based on the version, you get the softwares keep getting smarter. I mean, we're in the world of AI, so it keeps getting smarter and smarter, better feature, ease of use, and all of those things come with newer versions. All right, so but for now we can see everything. Then we see our blanks down there. I'll isolate this as well, flag I mean. So I flag that. So before we could have had this two as two separate values because they are of different casing. That's what I meant. Okay, next is our sales. Click on the drop down and we can see the one in quote was pushed all the way down. Then we have blanks. So we have an issue on this column. Let's do well to flag it. Okay, let's check this. Scroll down. We have text dates. That's an issue. flag it. Then we'll look at this. Check the drop down. All right, now you can see the home appliances as well. Could have been two values, but now it's just one. So we have blanks. Okay, we'll flag that. Even tech, right? And then the phones. Let's check. Well, everything seems fine except for the fact that we have some obvious inconsistencies. Some without zeros, normal. Some with 2, 3, 4. Some with decimal value, that means exponential, more like calculated value, and some with hyphens. Okay, we have to fix that. Let's just flag it for now. All right, so we flagged all the columns, and since this one is normal or okay for now, we'll make the text white, and then give it a green background. All right, so that's cool and good. Of course, you can always put your data in a table so that you get some table features to work smarter. All right, the next thing I want to jump into now is how we've seen how filter can help us find a problem within a column. So let's see how sorting can help us. Since we know that this column has an issue, when we sort, what we'll probably want to do is push all the ones with error down physically now, right? And then fix them, then we'll come back to them. So for example, since we don't have much issue here, there are no, for example, if we add numbers here, then it could have pushed that down. But since they are just all text, even though they are inconsistent, the casing, we'll just have the blanks here. It will not seem like we did much, except for the fact that the names will be sorted alphabetically. Okay. So let me just show you that quickly. Sort A to Z. You see nothing much. Just sorted the name. Others stayed the same. For region, we'll do the same. Now, let's just do it. You see, it's sorted. Blank stays down, alphabetical. For for sales now, you will notice that this blank value between the rows will be pushed down as well. You can see how sort can help us isolate problems. Let's see that quickly. Sort, boom, you can see. And the one with issue was also pushed down. So this way we can easily fix the data. Of course, you'll probably be thinking, what if the data is larger and bigger? Yeah, you're right. And as I said, sort and filter. Because eventually when we sort, then we filter. So that the ones with issues can be visible. You get the idea now? Alright, that's good. Dates, if I sort dates, just showing you that I'm unsorting. You can see text date is at the bottom. If I sort, this is there, blank space. And of course, if I sort, we have the ones with that uneven, right? The ones that are consistent, we have them first. Then the ones that are looking more like each other, then you get okay. So then all the way to the last one. All right. So this is how sorting can help us fix a problem. Sometimes you might be overwhelmed of, okay, now I know, but where do I start? What do I start with? There might be a lot of problems with data. Yes, I know it feels like a nightmare, and as if the world of the data is crumbling on you, but it's not. So I'll be simplifying the process for you. Okay, simplify the process as we go. So do want to take note, pay attention, watch again, anything that works for you. First thing is, we can start by cleaning text and standardizing them, like cleaning columns, text. You can look at the column names. We've talked about profile already. When you're profiling, you do your dictionary and all of that. Do want to check out the last video if you have not. If I'm too fast, use the playback speed to slow it down. And if I'm too slow, I hope I'm not. And don't make it too fast, because you might miss some things I say, and they are very important. Even if you've been in data for a while, you still definitely get some value. Okay. So column 1, all good. This, we want to work with this. So we said the first thing, since we have different things, we have missing values, we have inconsistent time dates. So let's standardize them first. What about that? So let's look at the text. Okay. this text should be in a certain case. And for others, we have just a single name. We might as well just keep the rest there. I already established the fact that these are based on business rules. So again, if you didn't check out the first video, do well to refer back to it, the part one. I had to stop it because of the glitch in the video. I could tell it was slowing down while I was recording, so I had to stop that. So I decided to just stop the video entirely, then make it a part one. So if you have not checked that out, do well to go back and check it out. Yeah, what we want to do now is we want to fix this. And from what I said, since they have just many have single names, so we might as well just take out this Dodo and then Smith. So we'll just have their first name only, while also standardizing the text. Of course, again, I'll be writing nested functions. Why? I believe you have a good idea of what I'm doing. Why do I believe you have a good idea? Because these are part of what has been treated in a full dedicated video. Okay, so do well to check it out. Textual functions, or all the series of functions. We used extensive examples, different scenarios to help you practically know how to apply these functions. Okay, so what I want to do here, I want to change it to a proper case first. Proper. And what do I want to change to a proper case? Just the first name. This three do not have a first name, but I cannot write different formula for everything. So we have to think of a formula that can work consistently across all our columns, across all our rows, all our records, right? So proper, and I want to do a left. Why am I doing a left? Because I want to extract just the first name. So I'll select the text. How many number of characters? I do not know. It's not consistent for everyone. Though in this case, it is consistent, so good for us. I will not complicate this formula. I'll show you the complexity, how far it can go. We can do a find, where we'll say look for space, and then before the space is where you should stop. But since we know that this is consistent, if you want to know how to do that practically, you can refer back to the textual function videos. We use that in one of the examples there. So I'll just go with for the fact that all the names, the first letters are 4, right? So good for us. And we're only doing this because this is a synthetic data. We cannot do this with a business data. You have to ask questions, and you do not alter things like that. Just go ahead and say you remove this, except you split them. Then you can now say first name and last name. Then these ones will not have a last name. That's another way to do it. But there should be a good reason for that. Ask questions, as I will always say. So proper left B4. So if I do this, you can see we get John. If we fill down, you can see how we get everything nicely. Now, see the challenge. Due to our consistent formula, I only consider the first 3. I did not consider this. All this falls within the first 4. But this doesn't. So what do we do? Now, formula got here. What do we do? So that means if I have someone like Jackson, I'm only getting Jack. Or let me say Juliana. I'm only getting Julie. And that's not okay. Right, so we have to fix our formula and eventually add the complexity we're trying to run away from. But it's not complex. We just add find to the formula. Then we'll click on the text. So that is the text. What do we want to find within this text? Space. We want to find out space. So we are saying the number of characters for left should be the number of characters before the space. And we know that we need to add a -1 by now, so that to stop before the space. It doesn't include the space for us. All right, escape it. It's important that I know what the error is before I accept it. Excel is smart. Is a bracket, definitely a bracket. And see the color code. I close this bracket. I close this. I close this. I close this, but I did not close the first one. So Excel was trying to close that for me. Then I close it myself. Oops, now I get a value error. So let's see what the problem could be. Am I missing something in my? So yeah, you find B2. So we're finding. All right, let's isolate the formula. Another way to debug. I'll isolate this formula, this left formula. So I'll take out the proper. Value error comes when we have more like a data type mismatch. Okay, so the issue is coming from here. So definitely the find. The find is the issue because it was when we added the find that the issue started. Okay, my bad. I see what I did. Undo. Let's go back to our formula. I misplaced the argument. You see, I intentionally did not say, okay, let me cut this pattern. Let me see this thing. These mistakes happen. It's just normal. Okay? It's just, it could be due to anything. Doesn't mean you don't know what you're doing or whatever it is, right? Like I said, you get to see how things really happen. So when you don't beat yourself up, it's a simple mistake. Become whenever you hit an error mistake, just become says find text within text. So first thing I should have passed is this. Of course, you won't do this in interview, but if you do, okay. All right, you see, is the PZ solved? Oops. Now this is saying, do you know we're getting value error? Don't panic. Don't panic. It's just Excel doing things for us. It is saying, oh, I was trying to find space in here, but I can't find any. Can't find any. Can't find any. So what do we do? What do we do? So let's try another complexity. Of course, they are simpler with. I mean, someone will probably be saying, why not just do this or this or this or this or this or this? Why not just do that? So I'm trying to use the or. I don't know. It's not like something I've done before. So this or the ones with a space. But the minus one might also be an issue because it's gonna give us a value error. I can tell already, right? So what other way can we clean up this in the go? Okay, probably we might need to isolate. Okay, maybe we need to isolate. Just write the formula that works for the first three. Then for this, we'll just keep it. We'll only take out this and use this. Okay, and I'll fill this down. All right, and everything looks normal now. Of course, I had the green flag earlier. We talked about this during error handling. Because the formula was inconsistent. That's probably why it should be there. Let's see, it's a inconsistent formula. It's for saying from what I was seeing at the top, what I have now is different. But when I eventually filled out, I just assumed, okay, maybe different things, different issues. And yes, this is what we want. Are there other ways? Of course, Power Query makes things simple. However, you want to do that, there are a million ways to do this. Million ways. Text to column. We have flash fill, different ways, numerous ways. Just let's stick to this, okay? So we did this for the first ones, isolate and find. Then we did this for the last people. Nice. So even if you have someone with a longer name here, it will include it, right? Automatically, because we didn't still stick with the 4 we had earlier, okay? Good. What do I do next? I'll copy this values and paste as values on top of this place. Okay, again, you copy them, highlight, you copy, right click on the first value where you want to replace it with, then paste as values. So the formula is gone. Formula is gone. We can now delete this column without issues. All right. So do not forget that if we did not do that, we'll be getting a reference error in this column. If you don't know what I'm talking about, do well to check out the error handling videos here. There's a series on error handling. Let's do this. Let's move on fast now. So we say, what's the issue with this? Not this, not this. Next is, we'll just say proper. Give it this, give it this. If your data was in a table, you'll be getting the autofill feature. So we would not have to do this filling ourselves. All right, everything looks clean now. Control C, left, paste as values, take out this column. Oh, good. This is a numerical column, so it has nothing to do with text. So leave that. We'll move on. Dates. We'll move on. We want to standardize the text first. That's what we want to do. So when you isolate or you group the options of prepping or cleaning you want to do, it makes everything easier, right? So the same thing as this, or for this, proper, this, enter, fill, boom, just like that. You copy, then you paste as values. Just right click, don't worry, right click and get, oh, I pasted to paste here. I still pasted the formula, did I? Okay, without the formula gone, good. Take this out. And numbers here, we want consistency. That's part of our standardization. Okay, so in this case, we have to do a little thinking the way we did for this guy. Let's look at it. The first thing is the length are different. We must stick to one. But since this data is within a country, we might as well just take out the country codes. We probably do not need the country code. Okay, so having said to that, we don't need the country code. This should be based on business rules. Don't forget again. But we're making most of these assumptions because it's synthetic data for demonstration purpose. Okay. We have to stick to one. We can say we'll stick to the version without the country code. So this is 070, something like that. 00. By the way, this is not real data. These are just made up names, synthetic numbers. The numbers are probably are not real. Okay. The first one, let's check by using length. Len, let's check. These are just prepping, just testing. I don't know what we should call that. So you can see the ones without the ones we want are probably 10 digits. We have 11 digits. Here in Nigeria, we use 11 digits. Okay. So, but unfortunately, Excel does not disregard 0. 0 does not start a number in Excel. You see that? It disregards it. And that's why we don't have the zeros in here. Are there ways we can make sure the zeros are there? Definitely. We can. We definitely can. And that's what we'll still be doing. But we'll have to convert it to a text. Because if it's a text, then the 0 will stay. But if it's a number, the 0 will not stay. But for now, to fix and standardize this first, we'll see that we have this. We have all of this. So 1010 majorly. Alright. So the ones with hyphen is 13. The ones with hyphen is 13. Now see the difference between this. This will probably be a slight difference. This seems like more like a calculated column. If I do 2, 3, 4 or 2, 3, 5, then put some random numbers, you see what it did for me. However, if I just type 2, 3, 4, it should not necessarily give me that. You see that? So it did not give me the exponential. All right. Now I know the difference between these two, and this is 11 digits. Oh, this is probably incomplete. It's probably incomplete. Oh, something happened there. Okay, that should be 9. Okay, 90. Yeah, 13. Okay, so we have this 13, 13. This is not correct as well. And omitted 70 or 81. All right, 13. So the ones with the country code are 13 digits. The ones without country code, they are 10. And there's another one with hyphen, there's also 13. Okay, so what do? We can break this down into steps, or we can think of a way that a single formula can do that for us. So if we want to think about it, how do we remove these hyphens first? I believe substitutes can do that for us. So substitutes can remove the hyphen, and when substitute does, for example, and it removes the hyphen, this goes back to 10. Good. Let's do that separately so you see what I'm saying. Substitute. We click on the text. You find hyphen, which is minus. You replace with. If you had space like this, then there will be an empty space. You can see the spaces are visible. So if I write equals to len, I select it, it still remains 13. All right. But when I say I don't want space in here, let me show you what I'm saying. You can see the space. See, let me take my cursor forward, take my cursor backward, take my cursor forward, take it backwards. All right. So because of that space that was left in there, anything you pass into a quote is taken literally. Okay. I'll take it out. Now it's just empty quote, no space. Now hit enter, stop both, hit enter. Now I'm getting 11. Why? Because this is from a formula and we can see that it retains 0. Okay, so eventually we'll be having 11 digits here. So we can combine. We'll be having a substitute to find anywhere we have substitute. Okay. Now we know that for the rest, we can extract the ones with the ones with the country code. We can extract the last 10 digits. Let's do that. That will be right. If you don't know these functions, if you're not familiar with all these functions, do well to check out the video again. So for the right, I'll click on this and I'll say 10 characters. And you see, it grabs the last 10 for us. So we can combine the substitutes with a right function. Okay, but we can't use the right function here. So I have to isolate this, fix it first. Then, we chain it. We can now get our 10 digits. The last one will be to add a 0 in front of everything. Okay, so let's see how we can bring that all together. I'll take out all of this. So if we say a substitute, but what if it doesn't find what we're looking for here? So you replace with nothing. Let's test that out. All right, so that didn't return error. So this is what we get. Clean. Okay, so the next thing we'll probably want to do now is to extract. Then we'll say right. From whatever this returns, grab the first 10 characters. Okay, if we fill that down, boom. Now it's coming together, right? Okay, then we can see value to text, value to text. Or if you don't have this, let me show you what it does first. Value to text. Okay, so I'm saying convert those numbers to text. Everything looks normal as well. Okay, now we can now concatenate 0 with it. Boom. Nice. You see how we broke it down? Oh, good. However, if you don't have value to text, that should still work because we're performing a concatenation. So it should convert it to text for us. Still works. All right. So you can see how we have cleaned this inconsistency. See, it's not a magic. And that is why you have to learn things in units first before you now bring them together in application. You can see how we used, oh, what we learned before. I did not use any new formula in there. If you check out the video, the textual functions, everything we learned, everything we applied there, we've used before, right? So that's how it is. See how we're able to clean the one with plus, the one without plus, the one with hyphen in a go. Why? We broke it down in a step. I could have just come here and write it all straightforward. Might not just understand what I'm saying. You can see how I broke it down so you can understand how you can combine and next and join and concatenate whatever English functions together to be able to work on real world messy data. There's no data you will not be able to clean, trust me. All right, delete, delete. All right, so as usual, copy all of this, then replace with this. I'll just right click and paste as value. I'm not sure if it's right click or left click, but it's okay. Then I'll do this, control minus. What is Excel telling us? Probably a number is says, oh, look at it. It says this, the number in this cell is formatted as text or preceded by an apostrophe. It's because of the zeros we added. What do we say? It says if we convert to number, it takes out the zero, but that's not what we want. So what do? Click on this and we ignore error. It's not error. So we're supposed to do that for everything. Highlight, click on this, ignore error. All right. So everything is nice, clean. Phone numbers clean, home appliances, category, dates, in terms of standardizations, right? So while standardizing as well, we might need to check that, okay. So for the dates, based on whatever it is we get, maybe we ask questions and all of that, now might know what to do with the dates. For now, let's just leave it. Majorly the text, the cleaning, the standardizing. Yeah, you can have another word for standardization or whatever it is, but that's the first thing we've looked at. Then the next thing is let's remove duplicates. If you have duplicates, let it go. Just let it go. Okay. So how do we remove duplicates? We have two ways of removing duplicates. We have exact and we have column specific. Exact will mean the entire row is duplicated again. Whilst column specific will mean in just a single column you want to remove duplicates. Oh, why? Why would you want to do this? Why would you want to do that? Which one is the best? When should you do this? When should you do that? These are probably questions popping up into your mind. And we'll simplify it now. Let's start with this. For example, if a column, right, is meant to be a primary key. If a column is meant to be a primary key, okay, of course, if we're working with database, we will not have duplicates in the first place because we would have put constraints in place. Primary key is a unique identifier on a table. A unique identifier on a table. See it this way, that you have, okay, work. That's how we have work ID. Work ID is to be able to identify you uniquely, the same way our fingerprints are different, right? So that even if you have two colleagues with exactly the same name, their IDs will be different. I believe that picture is clear enough. So uniquely identify a person, an entity, a record, a role, whatever it is. Okay. So if for any reason there are issues, maybe where this data was exported from or whatever it is, just let's keep things within this context, within context. And we know that this column is meant to be unique. That means we're not supposed to have someone with the same ID. We can remove a column specific. Then we'll say, oh no, this is probably an error. Then we can remove it. However, we cannot do this on, this will likely happen on entity table. On an entity table such as, for example, employees. Since we're talking about employees, because employee records on a particular table should not be duplicated. Can it be duplicated? Can it not? Let's look at customer, because even if you update if your data, if you update one of your record or one of your detail, it will replace the old one, right? So on an entity table where we have customer records or student records or employee records, we're not supposed to have a duplicate. So if we have this entire thing duplicated again, repeated, of course in some systems, right, based on the kind of updates, there are reasons for this. If you are a computer person, if you've taken computer data plus, right, you will notice how it was simplified, duplicates, and all of that. Now, and that's where they talk about slowly changing dimension and all of those things. You can just read it up online, something like that. In a case where when there's an update, for example, this person changes, the customer changes the number, and we replace what is there completely, we don't keep the old number. In a case like that, in that scenario, we'll know that we are not to have the same person again. So what if we have exactly the same person again? For example, if we do this, let me show you something. And say this is a different number, 9, this is 8, right? Okay, of course we know because we typed it in, that will happen. So if this is what we have, right, we cannot say these are exact duplicates. We cannot say, if we remove the duplicate on a column specific, it will delete one of these two guys, right? But when we do an exact duplicate, this is not an exact, this is probably this guy's number before, now this is the new number. Okay, so in that case, this will not be a duplicate, not be an exact duplicate. However, if the number we have here, oops, is exactly the same, it is the same thing, nothing changed, not the sales, not the date, nothing, then this is an exact duplicate. So this should go. This should go. Do you understand? So that should go. No. So that should go. That is an exact duplicate. So it depends on the context, on the scenario. It's not that serious. Whenever you, oh, should I remove duplicate on a column or duplicate in a row? Most times you'll be working with the row duplicate. That means the exact one where an entire row matches another entire row. Column specific happens sometimes, but whenever you do that, be sure you know what you're doing. Okay, be very sure you know what you're doing. Like I said, that will only come in when you, or that can come in. That means what can come in when you know a column is meant to be more like a unique, more like it's supposed to have a unique value. For example, I can't remove duplicate on this column, it doesn't make sense. That means other people will be deleted. Let me show you. Let's use our magic wand. Remove duplicates. You see, it says expand selection. No, I'll say continue with current selection. Remove duplicates. See, it's showing me just the region. So on the region column, it wants to remove my data as headers. So I think it don't check the header automatically. Okay, that's why I don't check it. Good. So if we do remove, we will lose data. You see what happened. And that's not what we want, because in a column like this, they are meant to be duplicated because we have them from different people. I believe with this, you should have an idea or have a good picture of what I'm saying. All right. So in this video, we'll be working with the exact duplicate kind of duplication removal here. Yeah, let's duplication remover. So let's click on remove duplicate. You can see it was able to highlight my entire data for me. It got the right range. So I only selected one somewhere in my data, and this is what I have. Now, because all the columns are checked, so that means I want to remove an exact duplicate. Exact duplicate where the row is the same as another row. Everything about it, not a single thing changed, right? So let's do that and see whatever it is we have left. Because we have duplicates here, the ones we intentionally did, and one from the data. Okay, now this will not go because this is not empty. Of course, this is empty. Okay, and these numbers are different. These numbers are different. Okay, okay. So it says just one. Remove just one, and that was the one we added. Why didn't you remove this? Okay, now it's saying, oops, what's going on? Number is thought it brought 0 back. That's fine. So you remove that. For this, let's add the same 7550. Okay, so that this goes because this is going to be a duplicate. I will drag this number down. All right, do remove duplicates again. All right, you remove that as well. Nice, that should go. Now we have been able to remove two successful duplicates, or two duplicates successfully, right? What do we have left? One. We have about, you can just click on this, 10 records left. All right, nice. Now that we have removed duplicates, we probably want to fix data type and then look at the inconsistencies within the column. Inconsistencies, right? So let's look at data type while also fixing the inconsistencies. Now this is meant to be, this is a number, okay? At the moment, this is a number. But our IDs are supposed to be text, okay? So I can decide to correct that data type. We cannot correct data type directly from here. These are just number formats, okay? So these are number formats, these are not data type. If I click this and go all the way to text, where is it? Texts. Now, okay, good for us. It's went back to that place. But if I do this plus 3, it's still calculating, so it's not a text. It just reformatted for me. So those are just number formats. Inside Power Query, we can directly change data type. But outside Power Query, that means in our Excel spreadsheet right here where we are, we can use formulas to convert to text. Of course, it's not something serious you should worry about that. Wow, is it something serious? I mean, it's something you should do, definitely. Okay. So I want to convert this to text, so I'll use value to text. Please do not use text. Text is now will convert to text. Text this way. This does something else, okay? This does something else. So value to text is what we use just down there. Value to text, to know what it does is return a text representation of a value. All right. Text are left aligned, numbers are right aligned. Keep that in mind. Numbers are right aligned, text are left aligned. So if I change this and I enter, I see it's now what? Left aligned. And that's how numbers or text are. So as usual, we'll copy, Control Alt V, values. All right, we'll take this out, minus. This is telling us that this is a number, but we know no, they are not numbers, so ignore the error. Nice. So this is all good. They are text by default. These are text as well. These are numbers. These are meant to be numbers. So what do we do? Equals to value. What does value do? Is convert a text string that represents a number to a number. So value, click on this, click this. Let's see how we can do this. All right. Value error. Why? Because of the quote. So what can we do? We can strip the quote. Okay, strip the quote. How do we do that? The best way, sort and filter. All right, so we'll go to the bottom, or let's sort in descending order. All right, so we can fix the problem. Take out the quote. Take out the quote. Nice. All right, so we'll go back to the way it was. Oops. take out, take out. All right, so we're sure these are numbers so that they don't misbehave eventually, and we have zeros here, right? You can see automatically it replaced blank cells with zeros. All right, so I'll take this out. Text dates. What we can do with text dates is, what do we do for the dates? They're in dates already. Escape. They're in dates. If we highlight, check. Okay. Check individual. So we see that they're in dates already. The only one here is we'll delete it. So it's empty. If we change that to short dates. So we'll leave that date for now. Then we don't need this. All right, everything seems good. Ignore the error. Nice. So this is what we have so far. This is what we have. And the next thing will be, we've changed data type. This is correct. This is correct. The next thing we want to do is, and this is a text, right? So a sum, Excel is smarter, might convert them into numbers. Okay, you can see now that it's a text, so it didn't convert them to numbers, and we're not getting a calculation, and that is right. So as well as this, we don't want numbers. So if we do a sum, we should get 0 as well. All right, the text, all nice, all nice. But if we do the same thing under this place, we highlight, we're getting actual values. Nice, good. Next thing is undo missing data, and fix data type and missing data, then we can do some other thing. Now let's start with the fact that do not forget sorting and filtering is the way. Okay, but since we have just small chunks of data here, we'll look through it. This place is empty. That means we don't know the dates when this transaction occurred. But one thing we can tell is, now whatever method, this should be based on business rules. Do not forget that. Ask questions. I keep emphasizing it. But since this is a synthetic data, and from what we can tell from the first 5 pattern or first 6 pattern, if I do this and I drag down, you see Excel automatically detects the pattern and replaces the date for me, which is nice. And that's what I was going to type. First, I think one transaction in 1 month, in another month, this was not there, and this was there. So I've replaced this. Nice. Others, the inconsistency started here, which is not bad. Another one happened in the same month. So good. Easy peasy. I know the question you're asking, what if it's not like that? Okay, so if it's not like that, you can put back date, future date, present date, whatever it is. You can put a date that can identify that it's not available. Or you leave it blank, right? And leave it blank. The only challenge is when you want to proceed, maybe in some chat and all of that. But for now, we've been able to fix this. Data cleaning is not a one-size-fits-all thing. Okay, it's not a one-size-fits-all. You just have to learn some basic principles. Like I said, I looked at the data, I found the pattern, and then that got us this. So they're just basic principles that you can apply based on the business rules. Do not forget business rules first. That comes first. There might be a reason this date is not there. There might be a reason for that. You ask questions. So we'll fix that. Now, all the top here, all is good. This, well, we don't have a name, no amount, the date, nothing. We have a number. See that we'll call, reach out to them. What did they buy? They didn't buy anything, so or we'll just take it out. So in this case, I'll just take it out, remove. This place, no name, no region, no amount. So take it out. Shift cells up. All right, so this is what we have, and we can say for now that we are done cleaning our data. Okay, data cleaning. Now remove the formats. No view. Then I'll remove the. Oops. Okay, yeah, that was white. Change that to white. Now go back to automatic. So Control Shift L to take out the filter. So we have a clean looking data for the sales. You might need to put the symbol and just little pro tips, which currency, very important to know. So I put a pound sign. Then that is the currency, not pounds, as in the pounds spent in UK. Is it UK? Euros, pounds, yeah. Not those British pounds. No, not GBP. Okay. All right. So this is just the sign. Hashtag sign is called a pound symbol. Okay. Next, since we have all of this clean looking, now this data is ready for analysis. So let's bring in our dirty data. What else can we do before bringing the dirty data or the messy data? Is that we can do some feature engineering, right? We have done sorting, filtering, that's help us find, isolate problem. We've standardized texts, clean texts, remove duplicates, the exact and column specific. We have fixed data types, we have undo missing values. Feature engineering is something we might want to do in advance for our data or in advance for our analysis. For example, if I want to see analysis, a monthly analysis or a quarterly analysis of what is going on, I might need to extract some value from this date, right? It can be here or it can be when I'm building my summary. But just to show you, let's do something here. Let's say I want to extract the month. I want to see them. I want to see the month, the name of the month when all of these transactions happened. Okay, so I'll do this. Date, month. So we'll use our text in this case. We'll click on this and then we'll say M. Let's use the short form, then a full stop. The full stop should be in there. All right, that's nice. So it's short form, except for me. Okay, except for me, but it's okay. Let's just leave it that way. So this is what we have. All right. This column doesn't exist before. These are our previous columns. So as usual, our slightly dark gray background. This, then the one we included should take a slightly darker shade. All right. So we know we included that ourselves. Right. So this is what we have. This is feature engineering. These are things we can do. Could have extracted first name from last name. Could have extracted country code if it's an international kind of data where we have different country codes, and we can use the country code to tell the country if it does not exist. You understand all of those things. So that means earlier when we're removing the country codes, like I said, since the data was not international, was not across borders, that's why we removed it. But if it's from different countries, we could have just extracted the country code into another column, then using the country code, tell the country, right? You can see how nice that is. These are some of the things you will do while preparing and cleaning your data. Okay. Now, the last thing you might want to do is just validate everything you have done. Very important to document your methods. In some cases, what you do, how you handled missing values, why, and all of that. Okay. So now we can now check our check. We can now go back to our checklist again. Accuracy, of course, I won't be talking about data quality dimension, the accuracy, the completeness, and that is some of the reasons why we had to remove some values here. Data needs to be accurate, data needs to be complete. That means required data is not missing. For example, if we go back to the messy one, there's the 150. Okay. If we go back to the messy one, you will see that required data, for example, the actual sales value. Okay, let's look at this. The category is missing, the actual sales value is missing, the name of the customer is missing. How did the ghost sale happen? That's incomplete. So we removed it, right? So data must be complete, accurate, and consistent. Consistent, right? And finally, which is not necessarily part of the data quality dimension, is that it should be structured. Also want to work with the structured data, right? So we can see we have been able to check our box and see how we went from this messy looking data with different kind of issues in it to this. So we went from this to this. How nice, right? That's a good job. And yes, you can turn any messy chaotic data into an analysis ready data. And if you have stick to the end of this video so far, I want to give you a thumbs up. Yeah, I know you're seeing other tabs. We're going to get there in another video. Okay, so we have seen how to clean data, prepare, preparation and cleaning, maybe English, maybe not. But under there, in preparing our data, we created a new column as well, right? So that's not cleaning, all right? So yes, this is the end of this part. I'll make that another part. We'll now look at some formatting tips, how to present data and all of that before we now jump into the pivot table. So I'll see you in the next video. If you get value from this video, do well to like it. It doesn't cost you anything. Like it so that it can be recommended to people who are in need of it as well. If you know someone working with Excel, do well to share this video with them. They will thank you for it. Okay, they'll be very grateful for sharing the video. Like, share, subscribe, because for by 9 o'clock daily, 9 a.m. Nigerian time, West African time, you will be getting a new video. Okay, so when it drops, you'll get a notification. As long as you turned it on, you get a notification that there is a new video, so you don't miss out on any of the updates. So watch out for the next one, and I'll see you. Bye.